Good morning. Hand today's Ace Queen. Suited, we're on the button, or we're in the big blind. So in this hand we have a limper, and then we have the small blind raises, and it's to us. So limper is playing 22-6. Probably you can see his 3-bet range, king 9 5s, probably from the blinds. Limp and call to raise. He's got threes, queen nines, queen 10. He's probably limping. Pretty wide range. You could see it doesn't seem like he's positionally aware. He's 22% early position, 20%. Possibly he's raising more in late position, but just based on his VPIP, it doesn't look like he's modifying what he's doing. We'll note that his raise first in is 8%, so 3 out of 37. So he is going to be raising some of his bigger hands. So let's set up. We're going to give him pocket pairs. Let's get those out. Probably the suited. If he's playing those offsuit, he's also probably playing the suited. Queens plus ace queen is probably need a few more hands here for his raising range. So maybe something like that. Tens plus ace queen. Maybe he raises with king queen as well. I think we'll probably do that. We'll say this is his limping range, and then small blind raises, which is kind of interesting. So pre-flop, he raised with previous limpers from the small blind, 29%, 7 out of 24. No idea of when he's actually doing that versus any types of limpers. His just raise, or his call 2 bets. Let's see here, limp with previous limper, 25% from the small blind, and then his pre-flop raise is 16%. He probably has a decent hand here. We're going to probably give him these pocket pairs, jacks plus, I bet ace king, ace queen, maybe ace jack, maybe king queen suited. That's up to 5%. We may need to find some more because his pre-flop raise is 16%. How many hands do I have? I've got over 1,000 hands, so yeah, raise first in 6-6 from mid position MP1. Let's go down to like nines there. Let's say ace 10 suited. He's playing it because this guy's probably weak. We'll add like ace jack offsuits. Maybe do the suited aces for 10%. If he does suited aces, maybe down to sixes. I mean, I think he's probably playing against this player because he's pretty. He's trying to isolate him, and he's okay because he knows that this player's going to be pretty weak. Probably is confident. My guess is, let's see, he is a winning player, so it's on me. What do I do? This is kind of interesting spot. It's not necessarily a blind versus small blind type deal. Because blind versus small blind, you can see that, you know, if he raises, you know, we're playing something like this with a call. We're 3-betting something like that. I kind of feel like he is, he's playing more as if he's from like the button. So, or the cutoff. So maybe something like this that we call with. I do think we're gonna have some position on him, and we can 3-bet. I think we can 3-bet quite a bit here. We do recognize that he will be stronger, but I think he will have some hands. We're basically raising here. That's going to force villain 8 out. It's going to give us position. It's going to give us a bread and butter situation. So I kind of feel like if we raise, we should be raising something like this. Definitely, without a doubt. Maybe have to tighten up, maybe get rid of those hands. Let's just do this. maybe get rid of those hands and expand it and give a little bit more linear range with possibly, and even maybe getting rid of those suited low aces. What we're kind of setting up, we know that if it comes low, we'll probably just have to get rid of it because we're unlikely to hit. But if it does come low, I think this player is already playing something pretty tight, pretty strong with those pocket pairs. So I kind of feel like that's going to be the range that we play. I chose to call, and I don't know if I really like this. I almost feel like we should be raising or folding. I think that's probably the better play here, because if we call, then we kind of we catch ourselves in the middle. We don't have position, we're out of position versus that player. We're in position versus this player. I just don't like the call. I think this is probably a hand where I was unsure what to do and just decided to call instead of saying, look, if I'm unsure, just 3-bet or fold, 3-bet or fold. So we're going to say that this is my calling range here, but I don't like it. I think a better one in this situation is just a 3-bet and fold. This player, what does he do? He calls. So a player like that, he limps. He's probably just going to call everything, especially with me in the pot. So let's get my hands here. I don't like this hand at all. Just watching this again, I just really don't like how I played this just pre-flop. So we see ace 10 6, ace of diamonds, 10 of clubs, 6 of diamonds. You can see that we're going to be behind basically our calling range. So at this point, based on our range, if he bets, I think we're just going to fold unless we have at least a decent draw or a solid hand. So villain 6 checks, which is kind of interesting because he had aggression. His C bets are pretty high, even out of position. I think he ends up becoming a little bit true to his hand on the turn when he's out of position. But I think 69% on the flop, 69% on the turn when he's in position. He's gonna be c betting flop and turn, and then slows down on the river when he gets to that spot. So with him not c betting, you've got one of two possibilities. One, he just flopped a monster hand. He has a set and he's looking to check raise, or he has like a pocket pair below the top card, and he is looking to, and he's just kind of got scared. He's afraid that one of us have the ace. Could he have a top pair? Yeah, I think he could have a top pair type hand, maybe like ace, maybe like the low aces. But I think he could have bet those just because if he has an ace, that makes it harder for either of us to have the aces as well. And I think if he bets, you're going to get diamonds, and he could bet again on the turn and then kind of slow down on the river. So I kind of think he's doing it. He might be doing it with the set, so we'll include the check there. We'll include these lower pairs. We're going to include no made hands. I think the flush draw would have bet. I think a gut shot probably would have bet. And those combo draws. So I think 36% is what his checking range is. And now it's on us. What should we do? Once he checked, you can see our hands here, our calling range, and you can see that we do have flush draws. We've got gut shots. I think our concern is this player because he did limp, and he can raise. I mean, he doesn't raise a whole lot, but I think with his limping range, I think we're just gonna probably play it a little bit slow, because if we bet, I think we're going to have a hard time continuing with like a king, queen, jack, a 9, or a diamond. Maybe an 8 or a 7. I think maybe our best chance is 2, 3, 4, 5 to continue firing. If we have a made hand, we could fire a gut shot. I mean, we do have the gut shots that we could bet, but it almost seems like if we check and he bets and this next player folds, then I think we can open up like a check raise because he could be betting because both of us showed weakness. And then our check raise really indicates some major strength, and we now open up the possibility where we're check raising with our gut shots, we're check raising with our flush draw, we're check raising with combos, we're check raising our sets, our 2-pair. I don't think so much our top pair, but we could probably throw it in, and if he folds, great. If he calls, hey, that's also great because we've got some draws that could definitely improve on the turn and river. So what do? I checked. So I kind of feel like we're going to be checking 100% here just for the play. I think maybe you can make an argument for betting, for being aggressive, maybe with the set. But, if we bet, and we get called by this player, what do we do on the turn on all of those cards that are going to be somewhat scary? So everyone checked. So it's going to keep everyone's range in the hand. So I still have 100% of my previous range. I have 150 combos. And then 5 of diamonds. And I think that was a situation where, yeah, we could have played that check raise and that would have been good. But, here's a case where if we bet and we get called, we're not really going to be thrilled with that card. Yeah, the rank is fine, but we're not going to be thrilled with it. I think it opens up possibility that now we can get raised by, a draw or whatever. So Villain 6 checked. This is now the second time that he's checked. So once he checked, I'm going to say maybe he checks with the set. Maybe he's going to check everything. Would he ever bet his sets? No, I think he might check call with his sets. Flush draws with the king, I think he would just check. So 100% check. It's on us. Should we continue betting here? Or should we bet? Should we take a stab at it? I think we could. I think with flushes we're hoping to get called. I think we might be a little bit more inclined to bet with, let's say queens and not necessarily king jack or king 10, because I think if we bet a king and diamonds and a lone king and diamonds could call, maybe even the queens, because now you allow the king and the queens to call. But I think you can probably bet with with our flushes. I think we could possibly bet with our sets to try to get some value from those lone diamonds that will call. Obviously, we could be up against a made flush, but at least with the set we have possibility of improving. The flush draws, I think our nut flush draws we can bet, and I think that's going to provide some cover, some balance. We're not going to have a huge balance, but 15 to 5. Maybe we add the second nut, so 15 to 10. That might be a little bit better balance, and we can always get rid of those sets. And if we get rid of the sets, then we're dealing the. Oops. Now we're doing 9, 9, and 5. We're doing 9 and 10 if we include the nut and the second nut flush along with our flushes. So what do? I actually bet. So let's say that's what we bet. A little bit balanced. We bet our flushes and then we bet our nut and second nut draw. Villain 8 calls. So I think his flush calls. I think the set calls. Possibly the 2 pair. I don't really think top pair calls. And I think our draws. I don't think straight calls. I think our nut, second nut. I don't think the third nut's going to call. Let's say that. I think the sets and the 2 pairs are questionable. The sets, not so much. I think a lot of people will play that, but 2 pairs definitely questionable. So I think he's going to be calling with that. And then villain 6 folds. So I think villain 6 is possibly one of those pocket pair type hands. So let's get him out. And let's get this range in. So their turn range ends up being 26.5 and 49 combos. Our turn range is 12.9% with 19 combos. So we're, in theory, ahead. 7 of spades gets there, which is actually pretty decent because the diamond draw misses. So my range is equity is 51.1, his is 48.9. And our question, what should we do? Should we bet? Should we check? I don't think there's, I guess we have to think about what is he willing to call a set or 2 pair? I don't think so, not with the flush that's out there. So I think what we're going to do is probably check call the flush. We're going to allow, maybe represent that we had the king of diamonds or the queen of diamonds, and we were betting our flush draw and we missed. So now that gives our villain an opportunity to try to bluff with his sets, maybe his 2 pair, maybe even a middle pair, depending on how aggressive he is. I don't think this player's super aggressive. I mean, post flop though, he is, c betting, but my guess is that a lot of those are because he didn't really raise without a premium hand. So I think for us, I think we're going to be checking our flushes. I think our middle pair is just going to check fold. And I think our nothing. Could we bet as a bluff? Question is, if we bet, how often does he fold? I think he folds those. So 32.7%. Could we get 32.7% to fold? So if we bet pot, if we bet half, let's say we'll start with pot. If we bet pot here, 24 big blinds, we're risking 24 big blinds to win 24 big blinds. So we need to win 33% of the time. I don't think he's folding that much. Can we go half pot? Maybe. That reduces, how much we have to win immediately. Is that 33%? So we bet we either win the pot or we lose. Now we need 50% to win. So a half pot bet is a little bit better. Half pot, 2-1. Yeah, 33%. So half pot bet can work. But even with a half pot bet, I don't think he's folding enough outright. And definitely with a half pot size bet, he may be encouraged to call with a 2 pair or a set. So I don't think it's worth it to bluff here. I think it's going to be check call. I bet 12. I bet half pot. he raised, he min raised, and I think that right there tells me that I'm beat. So with his min raise, I think he's got a flush, and he probably has king high flush draw. So king queen, king jack, king 10. I think I should just be folding here. Unless I had queen jack, queen 10, I think we call and just say, hey, that's fine. But again, I think we check call. I think we avoid it by checking. I think if we check here, and he bets 12, we can call. If we check here and he bets, 16, we call. If we check and he bets 24, we probably have to call. So we didn't. He raised. I think we fold with how we played it. I showed ace queen. He shows queen 9. He shows. He had the diamonds. The flush. I didn't have queen 9 in his range, but if he had queen 9, then it's probably likely that he had king 9 and maybe even those. So it just increases the chances that he actually did have flushes. It makes it less likely that he's going to fold too. So overall, I didn't like this hand. I don't like the hand since the beginning. I think this is a 3-bet pre-flop. I think 3-bet pre-flop he folds. Villain 6 calls. I think on this board then we're in position, we c-bet it. And this guy probably calls once and then folds to a turn bet. So, or if he doesn't do that, then he folds outright to the c-bet. So we win the pot. All right. Poorly played hand on my part. Definitely started pre-flop. Pre-flop mistake just magnified into a bigger mistake. And definitely should not have called that river raise. If you like this, look tomorrow for another hand.